Yeah, so we're here with Good Luck once again, and he's given us some good information in regard to the chain of command within the local community, with the locals. And you would think it's a simple process, but it's very important to follow the right process. So I'm gonna let Good Luck tell you exactly if there's any type of conflict, any type of situation with neighbors or anything like that. There's a certain process that you follow, really quickly.
Okay. In Tanzania, there's in the community we organize 10 houses or something like more than 10 houses. Chief who takes care of the 10 houses, and it's like a chain of command. Let's say you have a conflict within your house, your neighbor, or somebody trying to interact with you or anything. These things you take to the local chief. The local chief handles the problem, even with marriage issues. The local chief will handle that. If that persists, he or he hands the matter to the local government. The local government take care of that from the chief. So let's say you have issue, if you go straight to the local government or straight to the police, they won't accept that unless you go and start from the chief. If the chief fails to make an agreement or to take care of the problem, then that goes to the local government. And the local government, if it fails to fix the problem or the conflict in between you, that's when you go to the police. So if you go straight to the police, that won't help. You have to start to the chief.
So when it's resolved, there's all three entities. So if it goes to the chain of command to the police, and let's say it's resolved, does the police then advise the local government and the chief, or do we do that to let them know it's been okay?
You do that. So when you go to the local to the chief must make sure that everything is tackled. They are trained. They know it's not a local person. They are appointed.
They're appointed.
There are people who can handle situations like that. Even with marriage issues, neighbors, maybe your livestock came into my livestock,
or
my
some maji,
or you need maji, or somebody did this or that, or you have a problem, you start with the chief.
Okay.
And then if the problem persists, you go to the local government. Even with issues like registrations, you start with the local chief. From the chief to recognize you as the person who living within his area or her area, and you are a good person, a safe person that she or he can trust. Then you go to the local government. They will have approved from the chief that this person is a good person from our community, and then they will give you a letter or a certificate that will take you to a further level in whatever you want to apply to. Let's say you want to open a business, you want to start business or anything, or even schools and everything. They start with the chief. The chief must know you in everything. The chief knows you. The chief is there to read and learn from you. So if the chief has negative information about you, then you're not going to get anything. Chief has positive information with you, then you get a green light from the chief.
Green light from the
local government, and that's when you get the other things going. You will come to know, even if you want to register, you want to have a TIN number, you want to have a driver's license, this is where you're going to be taken first.
Okay. And so in different areas, you have chiefs that they start off as known to have 10 homes, but some may have bigger areas.
Yes, some have bigger areas.
So there's a lot of chiefs that are assigned. Is this by the government?
This is by the government.
all throughout Tanzania.
all throughout Tanzania.
Good.
This helps us with security and well-being.
That's really good. I like the order of things. I think it's really structured, great as a community because you live with one another, and these things you need to know. And people need to know who you are, and that way the whole family is safe. I would suppose that if you are having marital issues or whatever, that they're not telling your business though amongst other locals. I don't know how the gossip.
Oh, no, it's not about gossip.
Right.
You know, they are holding up people's secrets. They do not share, but they do take care of the problem. In our places, you know, sometimes people get to conflict that it gets worse, that you don't want to see each other. So how do they do that? They, let's say it's the woman that doesn't feel like being around you by that time, and it's, you know, it's crazy. They are supposed to take care of the wife. The wife will come and stay with them while they make the situation worse.
So it's a very Shemitic thought. When people start tying in scripture to how Tanzanians live, they'll see that there's a connection. Because if we wanted to bore a well, right? If we wanted to buy land or help out a school, we have to get it approved
From the
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
And that's how it is, even with the school, with everything that you want to do has to get approval from, starting from the chief to the local government, and then from there to the government that will run you.
That also reminds me of the story of Boaz and the men at the gate
Yep.
in scripture, because in scripture it states that there were men that sat at the gate and handled different communal laws, and they were the ones that the locals came to make things right or discuss things if someone in the community was not doing something properly. They would go to these men, selected few men, at the gate, and the community will tell what their issue was.
Right.
And then the men at the gate will then make a decision or discuss it amongst themselves, and then, you know, make the thing right, or they would punish the person or whatever, even as far as your children acting out. Things like that. So it's really nice to see that our brothers and sisters in the land have kept oral traditions, because I'm sure there's a lot of people around here that didn't have the Bible. Elders here in Tanzania, they had these traditions for a long time, and that they've been working, and they've never changed. And so it's good to come home to see the spirituality here, and to know that this is how we are still handling communal situations.
Even on, let's say you want to have search, let's say the police needs to have search into your house, maybe you have something or an issue, they will not come straight. They will still have to come to the local government and come to the chief. The chief will provide a letter and will be among the police to be a witness on your side and their side. They will be at the door with the letter, so they knock off, even if they knock or break. But the first thing they have to provide you proof, like this.
It's almost like a warrant.
Yeah, and then you see your chief. So your chief presents you, represents you, and then you go up, give them a go ahead to access it. It's illegal for police to come and break into your house.
Wow.
Without the chief.
Without, it's illegal.
Wow.
They are doing the same thing here.
So
For search warrants.
That's awesome.
So, question, like in regard to larger issues like Maji, shortage of water, power issues that has to do with big government. In regards to the chief, let's say there's a family that needs help. They have no Maji. And like, Maji will come, it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the city's not providing Maji, and I can't afford to buy private Maji. Does the chief get involved in to help out, maybe to try to, come together and help that person, that family?
With that, the chief has to work with the government to see what the problem is. That's what I know, but I'm not so familiar too much with the laws on that. But I know they have to do something to make sure that they have, all the communities have. In fact, they're the ones I think who are to report the issue. Yeah.
I have a question. Chiefs, how are they determined? Who determines who's a chief? Are they elected or is it a bloodline chief?
They are elected.
Okay.
It's not a bloodline.
Elected by the community? And what determines that election? Like how long they've lived in the community?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
They select based on how long and how good the family of the God has been.
How long do they serve typically? Chiefs?
They do the same way as the government, if I'm not wrong. That's like 5 years and then reselect.
Okay.
So, and then for clarification, so we're here in Tegeta, Wazo. If we go to Mbezi has their own chief.
Yes.
And their own community.
Every 10 houses.
Every 10 houses.
Every 10 houses.
Okay.
And I say chief, I don't know. In Swahili we call them Mjumbe. Mjumbe, yeah. So I call them chief. I'm not sure of the interpretation in English. I'm not so good at English, but I say chief. So it's Mjumbe. Wanyumba Kumi.
Wanyumba Kumi.
Everywhere you go, even the other side of the world, there's a chief. Everything. So
MJ, how you spell it? MJ?
MJUMBE.
Okay.
All right. And so one more question. Does the mother of the chief have just as much power as the husband, or how does that hierarchy work? What is the mothers or the women, do they play a part in it?
Okay, the mothers or the wives?
The wives, that's what I mean.
Oh,
the wives of the chiefs.
So it's like this. The chief is selected individually. If it's the wife will be the chief.
So there's women chiefs.
Yeah. If it's the man, then that is only going to be the
It could be a man or a woman chief.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So they're individually selected.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
That's good.
So that's really good information. Thank you so much again. Good luck for that information. This video we wanted to do because we live amongst the locals here. And of course, when you are in a new place, you want to do things properly. You don't want to come to another country and just do things your way or assume there are a certain way. But as you can see, there are processes and different things put in place to handle certain situations, which is very effective. I think this is really good because not only it provides security for the locals, it lets you know who's in your neighborhood, it lets you know, for instance, like your children, how you told me, I introduced myself as my first name, but you're saying no, introduce yourself as Mama Kifa, because people know you by your children, your oldest, right? And so I think that's very interesting, how just a little introduction and a little sit down and a little know who's in your community connects you, even your children. So they can see my son walking down the street and say, hey, that's you know, Mama Kifa's son.
Does it work the same way with children too? So if they're walking, are children known by their parents? Like you, like okay, that's Maleko, but that Toto of your father? Or?
Yeah, with the children, it will go by your son name. They may say like, let's say your Peter. What's your clan name?
McAllister.
So they will call him McAllister. Just for fact. But that's depending. Some people will call your kids depending on your clan.
Oh, okay.
Instead of calling him Kefa and Roma, they will say, hey.
McAllister.
Yeah.
McAllister.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Oh, so you're
welcome.
okay.
Representing your clan.
That's respect.
Yeah.
That's respect.
That's
I
good.
like that. That's a lot of respect. Very, very biblical. Because even in the Bible, when people are introduced by generation, they're introduced who their father's house is. That's very biblical.
So, Maleko.
Maleko.
Represents my clan. So, hey, Maleko.
Yeah.
So, most of my friends here in the neighborhood will not call me by my name, but they will call me by my clan.
By your clan name.
And so us as a people, we're known as being the house of Israel.
Oh, yes.
The house of Beta Israel. Our bloodline, our descendants. We're descendants of Israel. You know, and so that's the bigger picture of the Christ.
So biblical.
Yeah, so biblical.
Yeah. All right. So, any last thing that you would like to share for the brothers and sisters in the diaspora?
Nothing more. I would like to welcome, and we'll be telling them what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
And much more information for them to know.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much for explaining this to us, because now it brings us closer and closer together. And this is what we discussed on the last video that you did, how we have to learn from each other and come together and learn, you know, so that we can bridge those gaps. And I think this was a perfect opportunity. I had to bust out my camera real quick because I had to take advantage of this.
That's good. That's good.
So
Good.
thank you both for that information. Thanks, honey, for you asking questions. And thank you, Kaka Maleko.
Karibuni sana, tuko pamoja, we still together. Tuko pamoja means we are together.
All right.
Right.
All right.